Oh! Nobody's perfect. So when I was a kid, there was this children's programming that was on, and one of the recurring bits that would happen is that there would be this guy that'd be walking down a few steps, and he would have these trays with all these desserts on them, and he would say something like, 9 coconut cream pies, and then he would go to take the step down, and he would slip, and they would go all over him, and he would be wearing them, and then in would come the music saying, and that's the number 9. Now the point of that is today, nobody's perfect, right? And that's what we're talking about. Everybody could stumble and fall or misstep somewhere in their life. So we all stumble, but the important thing is that we don't want to stay there. And that we're going to get a little bit deeper into that today. But welcome to the channel. We're so glad that you're with us, that you're here, and we're going to start reading in James chapter 3, verse 2 today, which says, we all stumble in many ways. If anyone is never at fault in what he does, he is a perfect man, able to keep his whole body in check. So we all stumble in many ways. If anyone is never at fault in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to keep his whole body in check. So we all say the wrong thing sometimes, right? We all put our foot in our mouth. But this is leading into the next part, which we're going to get to in our next video, where we're going to talk about the power of the tongue. So, but for today, just want to make a note that you can be in perfect control of your life, right? Or you can be imperfect in life and out of control, or somewhere in between. And hopefully in that imperfect control of your life, because that's one of the fruits, right, is that to have control, self-control. Or you can be imperfect in life and out of control. Now, you're probably somewhere on that spectrum, but hopefully we're more on the side of control as we follow the ways of the Lord, and we are able to develop that self-control. But we can make a mistake, and we can say the wrong thing sometimes. We all stumble, and nobody's perfect. The important thing is that you don't stay there and wallow in your failure and disappointment. Or if you misspeak, that you don't just live there. But when you fall down, that you get up. That's the important thing. Remember, there used to be that old song that says, I fall down, but I get up again. That's the important thing. You're not going to stay down. And when it's talking about misspeaking is because, as we're going to read right now, the verse before it talks about teaching. And that's where we are today, is that it says in chapter 3, verse 1, it says, not many of you should presume to be teachers, my brothers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. Now, I don't really consider what I do here to be teaching. I read a little bit of the word, do a little commentary on it, just so that we can better understand it, you and I both. But I still will be judged more harshly if I misspeak. So although that this is as much for myself as it is for others, I always want to leave a little leeway to say that, no, this is to the best of my ability, the best of my knowledge. And please forgive me if I make a mistake, and Lord, please forgive me too. Help guide my steps. And I have to believe that He will. But it doesn't mean that I won't say something wrong, or I might think I have an understanding of something and then later gain a greater understanding of that. It's like that in the ways of when you're reading God's Word. As you get deeper and deeper and you read it, you might have read something 10 times. You go through and read it the next time and you'll get something more from it, or see it in a different way, or understand it more deeply, or maybe in a different way than you did before. So it's important to be in the Word and be on a regular basis. And of course, after that verse about the teachers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly, then it says, we all stumble in many ways. If anyone is never at fault in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to keep his whole body in check. So let's look at that in the Message Bible and see what it had to say. It says, don't be in any rush to become a teacher, my friends. Teaching is highly responsible work. Teachers are held to the strictest standard, and none of us is perfectly qualified. So no one's perfectly qualified. Everybody's going to make a mistake at some point when trying to teach something. We get it wrong nearly every time we open our mouths. If you could find someone whose speech was perfectly true, you'd have a perfect person in perfect control of life. So I like the way that put that. It took a little bit of the pressure off, but still, I still feel a great responsibility in speaking words. And I guess we should at all times, even when we're sharing our faith or sharing with others, just to make sure to see, to want to say the right thing. Maybe that's why I think it's been shown that a lot of people have difficulty sharing their faith or their testimony with others. And maybe it's because they're not sure what to say or afraid that they'll say the wrong thing. But it's better to say, well, it's not better to say something, it's not better to say anything than to say nothing, but it's better to say something rather than nothing. Anyway, I think I messed that up, but if you get the point, just share from your heart and prepare a little bit now so that when you have that opportunity, you know what you can say. Know your faith, even by hopefully listening to these videos. That's a helpful start about the basics of our faith, that what we believe. And that's going to lead in to our next time where we talk about the power of the tongue, and that sometimes we might misspeak and say something, even if you're not teaching that, you might just misspeak. And we're going to talk about that, and that's a really wonderful message, but it's going to be a little bit lengthy, so we're going to cut this one short and do that next time. So make sure that you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave comments. We'd love to hear from you. And today, instead of the thought of the day, I'm going to leave you with a little song that my dad used to sing, and I was just singing it to my granddaughter the other night, and it's really dear to my heart, and it goes like this. I had a little doggy who used to sit and beg, and doggy tumbled down the stairs and broke his little leg. Oh, doggy, I will mend you and try and make you well, and you shall have a collar too, and a little silver bell. Isn't that a sweet little song? It's what my dad used to sing. When I was singing, I could almost hear the dog whimpering and howling a little bit. Well, anyway, stay blessed. Until next time, bye-bye for now. Kid, nobody's perfect.